What's up, Amplify team? So I'm filming this video right now because the weather was kind of crappy this weekend, and so we actually didn't have our meeting. So this is going to be in lieu of our meeting. And I'm doing this because, one, I have some stuff that I really think we need to cover, and two, I actually have some news that we need to talk about that's going to affect this ministry, and I'll get to all that at the end. So I want to respect your time, so real quick, I'm just going to dive right in to some leadership kind of stuff. And what I'm going to talk about right now is probably one of the biggest ways that we can help this new ministry that we're trying to start up grow, and that's recruitment. So first off, why do we recruit? Because whether people realize it or not, everyone has the desire to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want their lives to have purpose, to have meaning. Me personally, I've never met anyone that just said, yeah, I'm okay with just coasting by and not really affecting anyone or anything in my entire life. Now, we all may have seasons where we've experienced that, but nobody really wants that for their whole life. Everyone wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. We also recruit because there is no gift that God has placed inside somebody that cannot be used inside the local church. Everyone has a place. That's what we say around here all the time at Your Place Church. Everyone has a place at Your Place Church. And it may sound a little corny, but it's absolutely true. It doesn't matter what gift God has placed inside of somebody, there's a way for them to use it here at this church. And by recruiting, we're giving people the opportunity to use the gifts that God has placed inside of them. So that's why we recruit. But how do we do it? And who do we recruit? Let's cover the who first. Who do we recruit? We need to primarily recruit people who aren't serving. And I have a tendency to recruit people who are already serving in other places that I know. And I do this because, hey, they're serving, so obviously they want to. So yeah, they can just, move over to my area, or they can do multiple things and serve in multiple areas. But that's not who we should be targeting. We need to be targeting people who aren't serving, who aren't using the gifts that God has placed inside of them. And that's because when people are filling more than one role, they're not able to fully focus on what it is God's actually called them to do. And a lot of times they end up in these roles that are draining instead of life-giving. And if we're functioning in the area that God has called us to function in, we're functioning in what God has called us to do, it's gonna be life-giving to us. It's not going to drain us. We're going to enjoy it. And also, when people fill multiple roles, we're actually giving them a role that somebody else could be perfect for. We're taking away the opportunity to serve from somebody who isn't. We're taking away what could potentially be something that fulfills them and gives their life greater purpose, and giving it to somebody else who already has stuff on their plate. So that's who we recruit. Last, I want to talk about how we recruit. And the best way to do this is what I'm going to call the Jesus method, which we find in one example of in Matthew chapter 9, verse 9, which says, "As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at his tax collector's booth. 'Follow me and be my disciple,' Jesus said to him. So Matthew got up and followed him." The Jesus method is simply this: ask people. That's what Jesus did. Jesus didn't have to bribe or do anything to get people to follow him other than just ask them to be a part of what he was doing and to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And so what does this look like in real time? It means starting a conversation. Find somebody on the weekend who you don't know, or you do know, but you don't know if they're serving, and start a conversation with them. And I know for you introverts, this isn't exactly natural. I get it. You extroverts have it easy. You'll start conversations with a wall if the wall would respond. But for us introverts, that's difficult. It's outside of our comfort zone. We don't want to step out of that. But following Jesus will naturally always push us outside of our comfort zone. If we're in our comfort zone all the time, odds are we're not taking steps towards what God has called us to do. And so we have to be willing to be a little bit uncomfortable. And so you start a conversation. You talk about, you find out if they're serving, because if they are, awesome. You can talk to them a little more, wrap up the conversation, and maybe go find somebody else. But if they're not serving, find out what they're passionate about. Taylor Raines is phenomenal at this. He'll just straight up go up to people, start a conversation, and ask them literally, what are you passionate about? And then he finds out, and he helps them get plugged in whatever area it is that's going to fulfill that passion that God has placed inside of them. And you don't stop the conversation like, we're going to be recruiting for primarily Amplify. But you don't stop the conversation just because somebody isn't passionate about kids. What you do is, if they're passionate about something, even if it's not the area that you're serving in, you find the person who's over the area they're serving in, and you hook them up with that person so that they can get plugged in. If you don't know who the person is that you need to hook that person up with, I'm here basically all 3 services every weekend. Find me, odds are I know, and if I don't know, I'll find out for you. So we help them get connected. So what I want to see is, I want to see you guys become recruiters for Amplify. If we want this thing to grow, if we want to get this thing off the ground, we need to get people to love what we're wanting to do and get them bought into this thing. And so a couple of business things real quick I just want to go over. One, I really want to see everybody who's on this team right now. I want to see you guys serving in motion. And the reason for that is, one, we have the opportunity before this ministry even kicks off to start building relationships with these kids, to start laying the groundwork for what we're going to be doing in Amplify. And so it would be awesome if you guys would just pick a service each weekend and just come hang out with the kids. Second reason that I want you guys to start serving in motion is that if we're just sitting around waiting for this thing to start, waiting for Amplify to start, we're going to lose our passion. We're going to lose we're going to lose our view and our understanding of why it is we're trying to do what we're doing, why we're trying to start this new ministry. But if we're in there with the kids, we're reminded of the importance of what we're doing, of pouring into the next generation. And so I want to see everyone starting to serve in motion. Second piece of business, I'm almost done. Launch date for Amplify. We're changing. And I know I told you guys at the last time we got together that I was aiming for January 7th. That has changed. We're going to have to push it back. And the reason for that is we cannot start a new ministry if it hurts one that's already existing. And right now, we cannot start Amplify without it hurting motion. So before we kick it off, we have to make sure and know that motion's going to be okay. This is another reason we need to recruit. We need more people in motion to know that ministry is going to be taken care of when we split and some of the leaders in motion move into Amplify. Now, last piece of business. This part I'm going to be spreading out to the entire children's ministry. We wanted to get this information out before it's made public to the church. I am not going to be the permanent head of Amplify. I love this ministry, and I know it's going to do great things, but I'm going to be looking for somebody to take it over, to replace me. And so sorry, I can't breathe out my nose. Got a little bit of drainage, so I apologize for all the sniffing. But one of the reasons the reason I'm not going to be leading Amplify is because they've actually hired me to be the children's pastor. And so I'm going to be overseeing the children's ministry as a whole. I'm going to be overseeing every aspect of birth through 6th grade, on the weekend. And I won't be able to give Amplify the focus and the attention it needs and still be able to do that to the best of my ability. So, like I said, I'm going to be looking for somebody to replace me. And if you're interested in that, then by all means, tell me. Let me know you're interested, and so we can start having conversations about what that looks like. But if you're interested, I don't need you to just tell me. I need you to show me that you're interested. And the best way for you to do that is to start recruiting. So that's all I've got. I love you guys. I went longer than I expected. I apologize for that. And I can't wait to get this ministry off the ground. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all this weekend. See you later.